Good morning. Welcome, folks. Welcome, everybody from around the world, the known universe, those traveling across space and time through the dimensional portals and other realms to the Soulful Illumination show, the show about spiritual ascension through energetic frequencies, a show connecting you to the collective consciousness through that heart awakening. Allow that energetic vibrational frequency to send you into spiritual ascension. That is what this show is about. We are coming to you live from a bunker near Area 51 in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I am your host, the Lady of Laughter and Light. I am Nicole Borghi, and welcome. You know what? If you don't know, I'm a soulful coach. I am the sabotage smasher. Look out for more of that to come in January. And I'm going to be here. I am always here, not only Thursdays, but every day of the week to share the tools for you to become the creator of your life, right? To be the best you. And how do you do it? How do you get out of your own way? Book a discovery call. Go to IlluminateVegas.com, IlluminateVegas.com, and book that discovery call because it's free. Why not? Take a time. Let's do a little bit of discovery, deep dive into who are you and who do you want to be, because now's the time. The energies are open and the energies are here for you to manifest. That's what it's about. It's not for you to be in your victimhood. It's not for you to be the survivor all the time or the rescuer all the time. Let's put a stop to it. Let's just smash it and move forward, right? I just want to let you guys know about a few things. The podcast you can always listen to on Anchor Podcasting, on Spotify. The podcast comes up on iTunes Radio. There are some here and there on SoundCloud. So check that out. Go to my YouTube channel. Do me a favor, Illuminate Vegas. Look up Nicole Borghi, Illuminate Vegas. This is one of the places that I am coming at you. And with my fabulous guest, I am not alone. We are traveling through the cosmos together to share our love for life, right? That is what this world is here for. That's what this show is here for, because you know what? We want you to be better you. And how do we do that? We do that by sharing and coming at you live, coming at you from all kinds of different realms. We are on Oneness Talk Radio, Illuminate Vegas. I am on Facebook, right? Where can you find me? You can find me on Instagram. The show doesn't stream there. Well, at least not yet. But there are some energy forecasts. So I put a little bit up there and do a little bit of live there as well. What else do I want to talk to you about today, folks? Let's get into the energy forecast of today. What does the energy forecast of today say for you on 11/19? So it is 11/19/2020. Hindsight is 2020. So soon we'll be in 2021 and we'll be armchair quarterbacking the game from 2020, and we can clear that out. But let's not wait till then. Let's do that now. What does the energy of today say? What is the energy forecast? It is Isa. Isa, the runestone Isa, can mean separation and force. It is ice. So it's cold, it's frozen, doesn't move. That means that there's some change that needs to happen under that ice. What happens in that water? So separation and focus is what comes up. You need to focus. You need to separate from your crew. You need to separate from the crowd. You need to become you. Focus on you. I got to focus on Nicole. You got to focus on you. And when you separate and detach from the crowd, you can really see what your intuition, what your guides, what your angels are telling you. You can't see it if you're listening to all that garble and chatter. If you're in that activist stage, if you're trying to prove who you are, trying to get people to listen, demanding all the time. If you are in that state of mind, it is energetically toxic because you are letting those energies get into your auric field, right? And you want to clear that out. Listen to you. Go to a quiet space and listen. Hey, self, what do you got to say to me? Hey, subconscious, what do you got to say to me? Listen to your angels and guides. They're there. They're guiding you. So come into that focus. And in order to change, you need to understand what that means. If you have to take a little pad and say, hey, note to self, right here, I have got to listen. Listen, note to self, start to listen, separate, and focus. The next runestone is Yira. Yira means harvest. And how do you harvest? You had to sow the seeds. You had to put in the work. You had to do the homework. Well, congrats to you because you did it. It's time to take that harvest, reap what you have sown for you, and reap that reward. That's manifestation, and that's coming at you. The third one is Yira. Yira, no, we just talked about Yira. Let's go to Perthro. Perthro is mystery and secrets revealed. So destiny. What's your destiny? What did you put down? All these years you have asked, I want to work from home. All these years you have asked, I want to be with my family. All these years you have asked, hey, you know what? We want to have nice dinners. Or, hey, I want time to walk around outside and be one with nature. Boom. It's here. We all manifested it. Take it. It's yours. Just take it. It's free. Take it. You've manifested it. You created it. It's what you're going to do with it. It's there. Boom. Magic. The spell came true. Poof. It's right there. What are you going to do? Are you going to walk away from it? No, things may not have come in the package that you've asked for, or maybe you didn't quite know how to ask for it, but it is there because the collective conscious has come all together and it's kind of concentrated right now. So the energy is moving fast. The energy is saying, hey, we are here. We are giving you this sense to be in that velocity of creation. Right now, it was moving fast and it's going to slow itself down just to the perfect speed of you. So, are you listening? You know, all those emotions, are they yours? Are you living in your past? Because if you're continuously living in your past, you're not in your present and you're not in your future. If you want to be with hello, your future self, you have to move forward. You have to stop being in the anger of the past, stop being in the fear of the past, the guilt. Stop being the consummate victim. I'm not talking about victim of the crime right here, right now. I am talking about you living in that past where you have been a victim. Because if you're still living in that past, if you're still being the consummate victim, then that means somebody else has taken you over. They have control. Hello, Houston, we got a problem. Somebody took control of my head. Nope, you gave it up. At this point, you're giving it up. So let's not do that anymore. Let's move forward because it's your destiny to harvest the reward. It's your destiny to get the ancient wisdom that we give you. It's your destiny to move forward, to flow like the waters, and to gather up these beautiful emotions that we have as human beings. We are meant to love and laugh and be free and have our own free will. So let's kind of give that back to ourselves. It's a beautiful gift to give back to you. And what does that say to you? It's just a beautiful thing. And the other thing is the other energy that comes up and has been coming up for several weeks, I like to work with is the dragon energy. And the dragon, that mothering energy that comes in and helps you. The dragon watches from afar, but they watch over you. They need to swoop in to kind of rescue you once in a while, but they're going to allow you to be you. They want to teach you to be in those fifth and seventh dimensional energies. So start to move up. And that dragon will help guide you into that, right? That's what you need to do. And what a beautiful day and the beautiful energies. So those energies are for you. That is what I channeled for you today. And I'm going to go ahead and right now, I want to bring my lovely guest in, Geri Habstritt. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but she's going to let me know if I am. Geri, can you go ahead and unmute yourself? And I will bring her in and we will be here today. Good morning, Geri. Well, it's morning here in Las Vegas. I'm not sure what time you are, but the host of it's Light Laughter and Lattes. Did I say that correctly?
You said that correctly, and it's morning here as well, just an hour later. So,
well, welcome to the show, Geri. Welcome. And I'm glad this is my first time, our first time kind of connecting together. And it's a beautiful thing because we all share the oneness energy, don't we?
absolutely. And thank you so much for having me here. It's different to be in the other shoes, so to speak, to not be the host and to just kind of hang out on the other end of things. So I am so glad to be here with you all and all your watchers and listeners.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Geri, you're is it a quantum Avesa healer?
Yes, I'm a self-ascension intuitive counselor, Avesa Quantum Healer, and medical intuitive. So a lot of different things. I've been at it for about 11 years. So I just keep expanding and growing and acquiring tools, techniques that work to help all of those out there who are on the path of upliftment like the rest of us.
How amazing for you to share that with everybody. And, you know, the fact is the more healers, the better, because we kind of quantumize and compound it all over the universe, right? And we share that love. How did you get to this point where you wanted to be, or how were you guided soulfully? I kind of feel that's the energy that I pick up from you, at least, is how were you guided to this point where you wanted to share this with the world?
Okay, well, I think it was about when I was 34. So I just turned 54. So 20 years ago, I
Beautiful. You're
had,
beautiful.
thanks. I had a series of dreams that went on for an entire week. I went to bed and it wasn't even a dream. I was being shown all of these things. I was being shown I could heal with my hands. I could heal with from a distance. And I was working with people that I knew. I thought I was just dreaming. Later, I found out I wasn't just dreaming. And all this miraculous stuff was happening. And I would wake up in the morning knowing that I didn't sleep all night. I was somewhere, but yet I was totally energized. Didn't need to eat all week. I had massive creation energy moving through me. I was writing books in my mind and poems, and then I'd go back to bed and I would have more dreams. And I was being shown what I could do. And more so even than being shown what I can do, I was in all of these different athletic feats where I had to trust myself without a doubt, where I was catapulting my body across great lengths. And
Wow.
you could do it if you could trust yourself. And so it was like I had 2 nights of dreams showing me that I was a healer, and 3 nights of dreams showing before this is going to happen, you need to absolutely trust.
Wow.
And when kind of the dreams ended, I was in this massive creative state. Miracles were showing up. I was having visions of things. I was being shown things before they were going to happen. Um, I had people that had passed away coming to me, giving me messages. So these were all things that were, really new to me. So it was so exciting because it all had kind of opened up at once. And, I thought, what is this healing hand stuff? I had never even heard of it back then. Lived in a very, very, very small town in Minnesota, highly Catholic Lutheran area. I was in the Catholic Church at the time, and I didn't know. I had to go Google Hands of Healing and actually found a workshop in Minneapolis, which would have been the biggest city close to me, about 4 or 5 hours away, and thought, okay, I probably need to go to this and just see.
Mhm.
And a few days later, I kind of put it on the back burner and thought, you know, this is just kind of, nonsense. But I had printed out the sheet to the workshop, and I tucked it away in my nightstand next to the bed and left it there. Went to work, came home, the bed was made. The bed's never made. I was married at the time and had kids. And the bed was never made, but the bed was made. And there sits that sheet for the workshop right on top of the bed. And I thought, wow. So I ran to my husband and said, did you make the bed? And did you find this workshop that I was going to go to and lay it out for me? He's like, no. He thought I was crazy. No, he hadn't done that. And I thought, okay, so this is a clear sign that I need to go to this workshop. And so me being very Catholic and thinking to myself, this is kind of weird, this hands-on healing stuff. I can't tell anyone. People are going to think that I think that I'm Jesus or something. And so I tell my husband that I'm going to a yoga workshop, and off I go for the weekend to Minneapolis and experience things that I never knew I could experience.
Wow.
Healing that I never knew I could experience. Energy coming through me that I didn't even know existed. On my way home, put out the electrical in my car because there was so much energy that was moving through me during this. And it kind of went on from there. I mean, once I got a grasp of that, it just kept going and snowballing. I needed to know more. I needed to experience more because I was shown this vision of where I would be. And I knew that I could get there, and it was going to take trust and a lot of steps. And I'd found out later, several months later, actually, when I was going through those dreams, one of the people, which was a girlfriend of mine, actually was going through a massive illness.
Oh.
And during that process, I saw myself healing her in the dream state, which I thought was a dream. And I shared with her the story, and she said, oh my goodness, that absolutely happened because I woke up and was just better, just like that. And she said, I have nothing I can attribute that to. So it was, that's what kind of led me on this path. I guess I was gifted with awakening, but it didn't necessarily just start on its own. I encouraged it. I was learning about being a creator. I think The Secret had came out at that time. So I was reading those kind of books, and I was very intentional on what I was doing. I mean, I plastered across my bedroom wall the words, show me who I am, show me how I can create, show me what I came here to create. So every morning I woke up to this. And so I was very intentional about knowing who I am and what I can do. And I think that's what got those dreams rolling.
Yeah, you know what, that's so amazing that you share that. So when you were younger, you didn't understand or feel that you had any of those connections or those kind of visions or anything like that?
Well, actually, I did have quite a few experiences when I was younger, and I was just thinking about those this morning. Oftentimes when I would lay in my bed, I could fall back like I was falling into my third eye, and I would spin off and I would travel. So back then, I didn't know what that was. Now I know it to be the Merkaba, or traveling in the light body.
Yeah.
Back then, it scared me, and I stopped it because I thought, what if I travel off and I can't come back again? Because I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know who to talk about it. And I, was left to babysit a lot. And when my parents would leave and it would be late at night and I would be in bed, I would be kind of scared to be alone. So I wouldn't quite fall asleep because I was a little scared. So I would end up finding myself often in this in-between state where I was not in my body. I was hovering over it. I could hear all these voices in the house when I knew I was the only one there. And I couldn't move my body. So I had lots of these experiences. When my girlfriends would get together and we would have like a slumber party, it would always be me saying, okay, let's see if we can lift them up with 2 fingers. Everyone used 2 fingers. And I had an intuition about people and their illnesses. I kind of knew at a young age why people were sick. And I always knew why I was sick. Each time I went to the doctor, and I did go for a couple really big things. I had rheumatic fever when I was in 5th grade and toxic shock syndrome when I was a junior in high school.
Oh my God.
And I was able to tell the doctors what I had.
Mm.
I didn't have the words for it, but especially the toxic shock syndrome, I did because I was old enough. I knew right away. So I had this about me, but of course, as we go through life, we get everything kind of trained out of us. We flow with the pack and we forget about those things. And so it took some conscious effort and an awakening moment to really set me on this path that I'm on now.
That that's amazing. My story is I started as a child, and I'll remember those moments. And I love to hear about people in that moment of enlightenment when they allow in that light to be of that light and to just progress with that. And it's such a beautiful thing when we free ourselves. When you did that, what was it kind of did it take you back in a little bit, and was it easy to explain to your family, or how did that kind of go? Hey, hello, I can see things and I can heal. I have magical powers. What do you tell everybody?
It was kind of a progression. So it was funny about the telling things, because when I came back from that hands-on healing workshop, I told my husband I was going to a yoga workshop. And when the night I got back, when we were laying in bed, watching TV, and he kept saying, "Thank you. Thank you." And I'm like, "Well, what are you thanking me for?" Because I wasn't saying anything. And then he just kept saying, "Thank you. Thank you for all the love." And he was
Wow.
feeling it. He was feeling the energy of the massive amount of love that I'd been working with all weekend. And I said, "Okay, so since he's feeling it, I'm going to now fess up and say exactly where I was." So I told him about where I was. And I shared it with my mom as well. And I'm like, "Well, Mom, we live in this really Catholic Lutheran area. I really can't tell anyone. If they had one of these classes at the Catholic Church, then I
Mm,
could tell people." Well,
right.
it turns out my mom was a pharmacist in the town close by, and someone had come in and hung up some flyers on the wall at the pharmacy. And one was for a hands-on healing workshop at the Catholic Church. So she calls me up and says, "Geri, you're never going to believe this, but there's a workshop here that's going to be at the Catholic Church for hands-on healing." So it's like, no matter what I did, there was no way I was going to miss my path.
Right.
No matter what kind of funnel I had to create for myself, for my path to show up through, whether it had to be, well, we better have it in the Catholic Church so it can be acceptable to my mind
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
people around me, it was going to funnel itself there. And so I did. There was a series of hands-on healing workshops that happened at many of the Catholic churches that was through Healing Touch International that a lot of nurses go to for their continuing ed. So I found myself with a lot of nurses and nuns in these classes.
That's amazing that they were able to give you that avenue, because one place you would kind of expect it to be would be in the church, right?
Right.
This is things that we should share, because we want the world to have that faith, have that opening, be awakened, and heal one another, and heal ourselves. And that's a beautiful way. It's not forcing it upon people, and I believe that it's the way you articulate it. Do you it's the way that certain people can articulate classes. When I speak or when I do classes, it's the way I focus on that group. Each group is individual, and each group learns things differently, and we all have different thoughts and emotions, and kind of prejudging how we perceive things. And it's a beautiful thing that they could find a way to kind of marry it within the church and open it up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like to share with people, there's still people that have a hard time grasping being able to heal with hands, being able to send energy because you can't see it. And it's funny because everyone accepts their cell phones and their microwaves and they can't see that, but somehow they work. And I like to share it. I mean, who hasn't had an experience where there's been a crying baby and you've gone over and you've picked the baby up and you've loved that baby and comforted that baby, and that baby immediately responds and immediately starts to smile or coo or relax. And it's not your words because the baby can't talk. It's
Yeah.
all energy. It's your intention. It's your love that it's hands-on healing, but it's not called that. It's called love. It's the same thing. And you're just
Yeah.
applying this energy to other people when you're doing, energy healing work.
That's so true. Sometimes it's just the simplicity
Mm-hmm.
of being able to share it that way. When I was growing up, part of this discovery through my family at the time was that my mother worked in Silicon Valley. So she worked at Hewlett Packard, her friend worked at IBM, and the scientist there, Marcel Vogel, studied crystals. And he studied them to put in your computer. Now we have them in our cell phone. So just like that energy, it's a conduit of energy. It is true energy. And he studied it in that fashion. So more people were able to come in that new agey time to understand that, oh, okay, it's real. There's science to it, and they study dimensions now in Silicon Valley. They study energy. They study the God particle. That's all there. They're studying, quantum physics. It's about energy. It's about creation. It's about that mathematical. However, you have to find it, whether you look in the Kabbalah or you look in the Bible, where there's the hands-on healing that is done. Nobody's saying, hey, I'm not at that height of level. We'd all love to strive to that, but it can be done here, and it should be done. It's very important that you share that with people right now. For them to come into this and say, hey, you know I can heal myself. I can put my hands on myself and I can heal. Whatever you do, it's Reiki, quantum, Avesa healing, or shamanic energy. When we talk about in martial arts, it's the chi, right? And Kundalini, it's the Kundalini. It's that magical serpentine power. We all have these beautiful powers, and to put them together and say, as the world, we can heal. And to not take it away. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you share that it comes into the church and that people can do that, because that's the thought, right? We all have to have that ability to now, especially when we have to kind of close out or separate back into our home, and we can do it at home. We can do this with our family. You can do it on Zoom. You can do it on YouTube. There's just so many ways to share that beautiful energy. I think it's just so amazing and so powerful. Do you teach? Have you taught your family these?
Not so much, but I've definitely worked on all of my family. Luckily, I came into a very open household. They weren't really entrenched in any religion, so they're very open and teachers and very holistic oriented. Since I was in middle school, we were already eliminating sugar, and we were already seeing a homeopathic doctor, and we were getting our eyes read, and we were getting we were doing these type of things. My brother is a chiropractor in California, and so it was really easy to bring this to them. As soon as I learned balances, I practiced on them. As soon as I learned anointings, I practiced on them. And as soon as I could do soul chart readings, of course, I did my whole family, and I gave my whole family a reading of Paul. So it's been great that way, because many people aren't that fortunate. They'll come in with a family that will challenge their path, and then that's their grit through their life, is having to say yes and find their truth through that. And I had that grit as well. It just didn't happen to be my personal family. Thank goodness.
That's, and what a blessing. My family was open to it when I was younger, but they closed off to it. So we had that experience in doing. We went out to houses to bless, or to go into haunted houses. At the time, of course, Ghostbusters was big when my mom and I went in there. But the unfortunately, she didn't learn to kind of bring that light, protect herself.
Mhm.
And whether you're doing energy healing or you're working with clients or you go to that faction, it's just so important that you hold space and that you put in your boundaries of what you're going to attract into you, because anything can attach to you at any time, especially now when we see people with those attachments or in that darker energy, and to be able to kind of come out of that and work on that healing. I know I've seen with my clients, some of my clients that have come to me, with some different things that they're combating mentally and emotionally, that are really on a rise right now, and they just kind of feel like they're bursting. Do you work with? What do you have to say right now for people? I feel it's just so important to ask my guests, what is something that you would instill with people when they're having those moments, and they need that healing and they need that light and that blessing?
I'm not sure if I totally understand your question. You mean a moment where people are just feeling like they're needing help, or are you talking about people who are healers themselves?
Oh, well, clients,
Okay.
clients coming to you that would need some help. What kind of messages would you give them, or information, or kind of, anything that you could share with them, some tools, maybe?
Okay. The biggest thing is the heart, always the heart. Anytime I'm working with the client and I'm not sure where to go, and really, you can almost go anywhere, because who doesn't need help everywhere? And so the heart is like the golden place. And if your intention is to lift into higher states of consciousness, fifth dimension, seventh and up, you have to open the ascended heart, and you have to anchor it and be in your ascended presence. So even that is the heart. And to be in that space of the fifth dimension, which is all about compassion, it's all about the heart. And so love yourself more, love yourself more. I mean, I've been loving myself for a good strong 6 years strong, because I had to move away from the town and my family where I lived, and I
Okay.
moved out to Idaho by myself. I didn't know anyone here. It was ascended numerology and guidance that brought me here, and it's been just me constantly loving me. And I personally can't be a good healer until I do that. And I personally can't even have the good boundaries to know when I'm sharing my energy with someone, or I'm taking on, like you said, with walking, ghost hunting or whatever. Um, that's when you're more easily attached to, when you haven't done your personal healing and you haven't loved yourself enough. And so no matter how much of that self-love I do, I still have to do more. And the one thing I like to give to people is looking in the mirror. It's so simple, and yet it is so hard. It's just sitting in front of the mirror and staring into your eyes, and you really want to call forth the eyes, because the eyes are the gateway to the soul. So you don't want to just look at them, you want to look deeply into them. And this may take some work, because I can remember the first time I did this, it was, oh, look at that, look at the pimple, look at the wrinkle, look, what's my hair doing? It might be the first 5 minutes fidgeting around, playing with your hair, wondering, gee, where'd that come? I've never looked so closely before. It might be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes of that. And then it's a lot of conscious breaths, just breathing, because you're receiving yourself. And how many of us take time to really receive ourselves and our divine nature? I mean, this is beyond an act of presence. This is an act of looking at yourself in the mirror and being present with what you see, and trying hard to not judge it. And if you do have to go through the judgments, which is very natural, then you'll love yourself for judging those judgments.
Right.
It's like layers of love over layers of love. And once you can do that, then you repeat the words, you are safe with me. I love myself unconditionally, and I accept you just as you are. So I
Mm.
love you unconditionally. I accept you just as you are, and you are safe with me. And repeat it over and over again. And try do it for 15 minutes. Somewhere 2-3 hours later in the day, 4 hours, depending on the toxicity level of your body, that healing energy will move through and you will get a healing from it because you are healing yourself doing that. And I recommend people do that 15 minutes a day. And then when you get super comfortable, take off all your clothes and do it in front of the mirror naked.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so it's so simple. We all have a mirror and we all have our presence. You know, we don't even need a counselor. We don't need nothing. It costs nothing. It's free. But I think it's the scariest thing any of us will ever do.
Especially now that we're older, right? You're like, whoa,
Yeah,
what happened there?
exactly.
It's a beautiful thing. I walk by and I play around with it because I think laughter is the key. Sometimes once you're especially after you get back to your heart space and just laughing like, hey, back at you, and just love to walk by the mirror and just be like, hey, it's okay. You're looking good. You got your diva moment on. You're all that, or whatever you have to tell yourself. I think it's a beautiful thing, really, to spend that time in there and just say, hey, love you, love you. And it's so beautiful because there's so many dimensions almost into that mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking almost kind of like the circus mirrors where you see so many mirrors and they're all looking back at you and
Mm-hmm.
not in judgment, not in judgment when it's time, when you're ready to open up to that. And that's
Absolutely. And our distractions are basically us not wanting to look in the mirror.
yeah.
Our distractions are us not wanting to be present with ourselves because we don't want to see what's emerging, whatever that might be. Sadness, anger, pain. You know, anxiety is the maximum of that, is when it's really built up and you really don't want to look and now you've got anxiety.
Yeah.
So anytime you're feeling distracted, right, the greatest thing to do would be, okay, I'm heading to the mirror. And if you
Yeah.
can sit down and you can do it, once you're done, you will find that you have an overwhelming amount of presence.
Oh,
And so it's a great pattern breaker for if you're distracted and you're noticing that well, first you have to notice that you're distracted.
well, if you're busy, what I teach my clients is we do a scheduling. If you're busy being busy, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you're busy, when plan write out your day. What do you do when you wake up? Not just brush your teeth or shower, but if you're trying to get back to your clients or you're trying to be an entrepreneur or trying to just even establish your business, why can't you make those phone calls? Why do you feel you can't get to make that video? Or why do you feel you can't do the Facebook Live? What is keeping you from that? Is it really the children? Because or they were at school, or if they're at playtime, right? Or if they're in their room being quiet, that's really not the time to try to wash the clothes. Take that moment. Schedule yourself in for that day, right? Schedule your exercise time, mirror work, put that down because, the first day of the scheduling, you're busy being busy. You sat on the couch for 3 hours. And hey, if that's where you got to be, that's you. Nobody's in judgment. But if you want progress, if you want to be in that action or that passionate action and getting the proper things done and building your business or building you, you need to put that down. How come you couldn't get to the meditation? So if you're up from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., how come in that part of the day you couldn't take 30 seconds and just be present? And so when you start to map it out, you start to see, oh, I'm busy being busy. I'm just busy making stuff up. I'm not crossing the stuff off my list. I'm really not being in gratitude to manifest more. And here's how I can do that. And it's so important to be present, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be present with you and to feel those emotions. Because if you're busy being busy, you're probably pushing something off or procrastinating from achieving your success or your goals or manifesting because you're maybe afraid. Maybe you feel guilty in doing it. Like you said, address your emotions. What are the emotions? Let's look at that reoccurring feeling and start to look into that inner child. What are they talking about? What is that subconscious chatter telling you, right? What's on your radio? And so if you can't get past that, like you said, in the mirror, if you can't get past the line or the wrinkle or the gray hair or the curl out of place, you know, what is it that you're avoiding? And just you put it down and you clear it. And once you recognize it, you have spent so much more time trying not to recognize it than it takes the 10 seconds to recognize the one thing that's stopping you from everything else, right?
Yeah. Well, it's so amazing because everything is energy, right? And we're so scared of the emotions to look at them that we have tucked away. And we're so scared to look at ourselves and accept ourselves. And you're right, we spend so much time avoiding it, denying it, being distracted from it, when all you have to do is look at it and then let whatever flow.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's tears, whether it's anger, whether it's just an energetic surge, you acknowledge it, you let it out, and then you're through it, you know,
Yeah.
for that moment. There's always more, it seems like.
There is always more, but when you don't recognize it, I spent so much time just kind of hiding from myself,
Hmm.
you know, or trying to run away or move away from myself. But it was the common denominator in all my relationships was me. And, you know, I was trying to so move away from that. And then it was anger and then it was fear, you know, and feeling that guilt or anything. And I spent so much time trying to avoid it. And then I came to the quiet zone or the present time and found the balance and went, "Oh, it's that easy." But you know, I told myself it was difficult. So, you know, if you forgive yourself for judging you, or if you see that polarity in you and you find that forgiveness of the judgment in other people and forgive yourself and come to that soft moment and just see the clarity and feel that one moment, like you said, cry or be angry, whatever, you know, go find a ball and throw it outside or something if you feel you need to throw something, or go for a jog or something like that, and then just come back and feel into it. It was, for me, it was, I couldn't cry. So I had to go cry in, whether I was, if I was driving in the car, you know, I had to be at that moment where I was alone with me and I couldn't get away from it. There was nowhere to go,
Hmm.
nowhere to go. And so we all feel it differently. And now it's just allowing it to flow and being so beautiful. And how wonderful is that when we're in our emotions and we're not in that avoidance. I
Hmm.
think it comes to that activist part of us right now where we're like, we got to have people listen to us. And working with speaking, when I work on speaking or I'm working with my speech, and I tell people also working with videos, the biggest thing is not only finding your niche on what you want to speak about, it's not only finding what you want to share and your story, but it's your delivery, right? It's how do you deliver it so people hear it? So they'll react to it in the proper fashion. So you're not kind of forcing it down someone's throat and kind of compacting it, right?
Hmm.
Being in your love, like you say, in the heart, always in the heart, come back to the heart. It's
Yeah, you
love.
can never fail starting at the heart. Never, with anything really, any conversation, anytime you're nervous, whatever. Teaching, even sometimes I'm a substitute teacher, and there's times where I'll fly in the last minute and I won't have all the information, and the students will come in and I'll just have to say, you know what, if I just stay in my heart,
Mm.
it'll all flow. And
Yeah.
it does.
Beautiful. How beautiful that you can share with students. What grade do you teach?
Well, I substitute teach. I do it in between the healing work that I do. And so being with children offer a great balance for me. These children now have so much light. They are such gifts. They are here to offer so much. And I just enjoy being around them. And I I like to be there, You know, I loved being a mom. I loved volunteering at the school, and I just like to be around the kids. They keep me young. They keep me excited. They keep my inner child excited. So I love when they're doing their little TikToks and they're doing their little dances and they're doing, you know, I probably let them get away with more than I should, just because I love to see their liveliness, and that's the key for our future. And I want to be there and be a piece of that future in any way I can. Excuse me. Whether it's just if I'm sitting in the room, you know, sharing my heart with them, whatever it may be. Because I know there's a lot of kids right now that they're having a hard time with this, and they're really struggling with what's happening. They're having to stay home all the time, and they're not getting the connections, and they're not getting all the support they need at home, and some of them are falling backwards in their work, and their mental health is going down. So I I use that as a balance in between. It fulfills me anyways.
Good. You know, and they're so bright. The star seeds and the energy. And they come right now where for me as a child, I didn't understand why other people didn't have these gifts. I didn't understand why people didn't go in that flow for a long time. And of course, I shut it off for a long time because people didn't want to share that. So for me, obviously a safety mechanism. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that you share with these children because you are an enlightened being and you come with so much love and light around you. And it's just, you just radiate it. And I'm sure sharing with these children, giving them a safe space to have that, to know that they can be championed with that and coming into the world. You know, hey, here's where you can be okay. Here's where you can share your light and love. And it's so beautiful that they come with other people. I've seen some clients come struggle for years to come to it, to open up and to be in that moment of their gift, whatever their gift of, you know, of their sight or their healing energies, and their ability to do that. You know, they come right now where some people it took, you know, a little bit what time to discover and me to rediscover. And it's so beautiful because once you charge them and you charge the people that you work with, and you know that energy just quantumizes and the kids are getting charged and they're getting booted, and we can all come together as one, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
That's
and I like to think about it, you know, the virus is going on, right? But there's also the virus of love going on. And all the people
yes.
that are out here getting ignited, getting excited. And I
Mm.
know one of the things that it ignites and excites me is dancing. I mean, I'm in my glory when I'm out dancing.
How
And
fun.
I can literally watch people light up because they catch that light. It's like a virus of joy, right? And they catch it and they catch it, and it keeps going and it travels. And so does love. So the more of us that are lifting through this and finding our joy and really doing our passion, and it doesn't matter what the passion is. I think some of us get so focused on service, thinking that we've got to do the videos, we've got to do this, we've got to create classes, we've got to be a mentor. But I've watched in my experience that if I just let myself go have insane amounts of fun, like I did when I was a kid, um, I can offer as much or more healing energy than I can when I work with a client.
Wow.
Because that excitement, that passion, that energy, when you're at your, you know, glowing moment where you're just having so much fun, that's contagious and that
Oh
catches on.
yeah.
And people
Yeah.
find that within themselves, and then they're doing it too.
Yes, yes, it is a beautiful thing. We are coming to the end. Jerry, it's been marvelous talking to you, and I am so thankful that you came on today. I love this community. I love it so much. Um, where can people find you? How do they find you?
Well, they can find me on Facebook, Avesa Joy on Facebook, or Geri Habstritt. I can also be found, I have a Wix site, Joyful Living. So it's Wix site, Joyful Living, all one word. Or you can just Google Geri Habstritt Joyful Living, and you'll find me there. I'm doing a few things. So, and Light Laughter and Lattes on Wednesdays at 4 Mountain Time, 3 o'clock Pacific Time. on Oneness Talk Radio.
Awesome. And all the links will be down here later. And of course, guys, look for in the next 24 to 48 hours, you can find this on podcast on Spotify, and you'll find information, and you'll see the show hear it on Anchor and iTunes. We're on Illuminate Vegas at YouTube, and we're also on Oneness. So it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for being here, Geri. And